Yeah, my friends, I'm here, folks. Greetings, red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just joining us, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down here, turn on the notification bell, and drop a like on the video. We have here another clip from our interview with Marcos Braz, former vice president of football at Flamengo. He talked about the stadium, about the construction of Flamengo Stadium. Man, we're going to bring some interesting clips here where he also talks about the signing of Nicolás de la Cruz. He talked about the stadium, whether he believes it will be built or not. Look, we have some very important clips here. I just want to remind you that you can get these jerseys. Feruza, Zico, these jerseys, look, goalkeeper Flamengo. You can get all these jerseys at the YouTube store right here, man. Just click here and you'll be helping Flamengo. Flamengo gets royalties because it's an official product. And I want to remind you that with Haroldo's tour group, you get the best packages. You can secure your spot at Mengo's games in Rio de Janeiro. In Rio de Janeiro, you have match packages with tickets included, a complete package. Outside of Rio, for the Libertadores games as well, trips with the best packages. All you have to do is check out Haroldo's tour group right now. Hey, Braz, people are asking in the chat. I'm going to take the opportunity to ask you. Maybe you want to clarify this as well. Explain a bit about the signing of Nicolás de la Cruz, who has been having consecutive medical and physical problems. You at the time. Many people want to discuss this. You at the time? You paid the player's release clause when signing. The player went there, deposited the clause, and then joined Flamengo. And I remember all the fans wanting De La Cruz to be signed at the time. Now that's what I do. Now, regarding the medical situation and everything else, and I include myself in this, it's easy for us to criticize after things didn't work out very well. Even though he's a great player with some physical issues, but did you have any indication of a knee problem? No.
First, Papa said it wasn't just Flamengo fans who wanted it. All the fans in Brazil wanted it, and many in Latin America wanted it too. When you make a signing, Papa, of this level, of this size, I think it rests on three pillars. The analysis, technical and tactical, of the player, what he can contribute to the squad, technically and tactically. You have the physical aspect and you have the financial aspect. Flamengo made progress on the financial side and understood that he could be signed. Flamengo analyzed the technical and tactical aspects. He was a player who was approved, highly approved, A-level by the scouts, and then there was the physical side. Look, I'm not shifting responsibility to anyone. We never had from Flamengo's medical department any kind of communication or told us that there could be or should be or would be any kind of problem. So it's very simple and very easy to talk about this subject because he was a player who played in the World Cup. And there they also have doctors. He played in World Cup qualifiers. And a player who the previous year, if I'm not mistaken, played more than 2,500 minutes in the last 2 seasons for River Plate. So when it was understood that we should sign him, we went ahead and signed him. So after that, that's when some medical issues started to appear or be revealed. It's very easy to talk after the fact, but Papa, let me tell you something. When we went to sign Alcaraz, it's the same thing. I'm explaining this here for Flamengo's fans, for the lay person, for other people who are listening to us, to understand the process. All right, how did the signing of Alcaraz happen? You have to see if the player's tactical and technical analysis shows that he will be important for Flamengo. Whether it's financially feasible for Flamengo and the medical analysis is done by the same person at Flamengo, by the same group, by the same department. when we signed Gabriel Arrascaeta, Rodrigo. O Rodrigo. Back then, Rodrigo Caio. And there were also some concerns. What I want to tell you, Papa, is that I, as a director, as vice president, I went through and made sure all the processes that we have historically done within Flamengo were followed. There's no phone call from Marcos Braz like approve this one, approve that one. That doesn't exist, even for obvious reasons. I would never do that, and no one would ever do that to avoid a huge level of exposure. So just to be clear, the signing of Alcaraz, no, not Alcaraz, of De La Cruz. De La Cruz was fully approved by the club's financial department, fully approved by the scouts for tactics and technique, and fully approved by Tanuri and team department, by the department. I'm not a doctor. Just like I'm not a scout either, even though we have a perception and a sensitivity in the field in this situation where I can evaluate. And I think it's important for the club executive to also evaluate tactics and technique, which is something that adds value to a squad. So that's it. So when people talk, when you ask that question, I don't feel pressured or upset at all. For me, it's an important moment and an important channel for me to express the point of view of the vice president of football at the time, of Marcos Braz at the time, regarding making that signing. So, to wrap up this topic, the tactical and technical aspects were 100% approved by the scouts, 100% approved by the financial department, by everyone at the time, and on the medical side, 100% approved. We move forward and sign the player. It's that simple. Papa, I truly believe that Flamengo could have or will have a stadium super modern, a stadium where a match day would be far more worthwhile. I'm absolutely sure that there's no turning back. Now, the timeline for this is what's questionable. And so, once again, we go through Flamengo's election process. Bape has always been hit same in some aspects regarding the stadium. From the moment he wins the election, he has every right to take the stance he believes is right. So he had some concerns regarding the financial aspect, regarding the deadline. So, like this, parties put everything together in the same process, all in the same situation, and then each one wants to take advantage in some way. Flamengo has already bought the land. The land is there. I'm absolutely sure that at the best possible moment for Flamengo will definitely will make sure that the dream of a great stadium there comes true. Maybe not in the way that A or B were understood as they should be. I'll make that clear, just to be very clear. I think Flamengo's stadium will happen at the right time, a little further down the line. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, no. It's not that one is against the stadium and the other is in favor of the stadium. I'm talking internally within Flamengo. That's what I think one thinks about the stadium. A little more in the long term, and the other we thought that it could be done in a shorter period of time, in a shorter time frame. That's all. As for my relationship at the time, I was a city councilman. I was serving a term as a councilman, and I would find myself laughing in some situations because we all knew that the approval of that stadium was up to the city council. Just like it was with Vasco's stadium and the renovation that also seems like it could happen or might happen at Fluminense Stadium. Why? Because that involves the zoning limits, the location of the stadium, the zoning limits, which is basically the size of the construction, or roughly speaking, that's what people will understand. And that's a matter for the city council. So, what I could do in this regard has been done, it's been adjusted. Now it has to be respected once again. From the moment you have a president who believes this should be done a little later, you have to respect that. It's as simple as that. I'm a guy who I'm very pragmatic and very, very transparent. E bem transparente. Às vezes, sometimes I pay a high price for being so transparent, but it's worked out so far. That's basically it. I think it's a consensus that building the stadium is feasible and that the stadium will happen one day. Most likely, what people discuss is the timing. It's the timing. If we needed a bigger or better structure so that we could do this, some random thought that this could be done in the shortest amount of time. And PAP, which must be respected, believes it should happen over a longer period. That's all. I think now the land is already there. It's already bought. It's more than. I think there's nothing more to say about the electoral part of this. I think that's already been exhausted. The stadium, the land belongs to Flamengo. It's possible to build the stadium there. The question is when, if one thinks they need more time and the other less. That's all. So, to be clear, I'm against the SAF. I'm in favor of the stadium. Now, at the right time for Flamengo, one that doesn't compromise the financial side and much more the sporting side of the club, which is something I value a lot. I've always valued a lot.
The arrival of these players during your tenure? Araska, BH, what is your relationship with them like? Do you still talk to them? Do you still keep in touch with them?
Yeah.
And also, are you happy to see that the signings you made back in 2019 are still winning titles for Flamengo and are even breaking records as the players with the most titles in Flamengo's history? And while you're at it, also talk about Leo Pereira, who you brought in as well. He was initially criticized, many wanted him gone, but now he's among Brazil's top defenders and has been called up to the national team.
When we leave the position, we root for them. Pelo jogador, for various reasons. So when you talk about Arrascaeta, when you talk about Bruno Henrique, when you talk about Leo Pereira, these are players who believed in our project. We believed that they could be part of our project and everything worked out. Were they the players who won the most titles there? No? Nah. The Flamengo players from those years, they are very important players. The other day, I happened to be on the same flight as Bruno Henrique. I talk very little with the players, but I have an excellent relationship when we meet, whether it's at restaurants or here in Barra da Tijuca or in some other places. I am treated with a lot of affection, with a lot of com muita respect from them. I think there's also a sense of gratitude for the time when we signed them. There's this relationship, a relationship that's also about gratitude. My relationship with all the players is very good. I have a caring relationship, but I don't have daily contact for obvious reasons. This distance is good because of the position I had and because I'm always talking about soccer or involved in something related to it. It's also good, Papa, this distance, this separation. I think what we went through, the relationship we have is a respectful one, but you can't stay in contact or be buddies with A, B, or C.
So, Still on this point that you made a very good point about keeping at least some distance from the athlete, you can't have them as your best friend hanging around. Obviously, there are directors who go to the player's house and have that kind of relationship and all, but I understood what you meant. So I'm going to ask you specifically about Pedro. Pedro, tell us about it. Do you think Felipe Luis was wrong to call him out publicly? Was it necessary at that press conference? Or do you really think he was wrong? And I'd also like to ask, did you have any trouble getting along with Pedro as well? Is he a player who needs a different kind of attention? When we say attention, we don't mean literally being affectionate. It's about how you handle him day to day as an athlete.
Let's be clear and transparent about Pedro. I was concerned about Pedro because people associated me with Gabigol, of people thinking that because I am close or having a very good relationship with Gabigol, that this could hinder or interfere with Pedro being picked for the lineup. And once with Pedro, just the two of us, we talked about this topic and discussed it for quite a while. So I've always had an excellent relationship with Pedro, a good relationship with him. Now, regarding that concern, Felipe Luis went public with it. I'm always against exposing a certain situation too much to the outside. Now, I also don't know what the context was, so I don't want to be unfair. I'm not sitting on the fence, no, but it's because there are situations where we can't be unfair either. I also don't know how irritated Felipe Luis was to do what he did. So, like, I'm always against it. I always try to work things out, not in that way, but I've also done that in some situations. Now, situations taken to the extreme. I'm always against it, but it happens, then things get sorted out and life goes on. Just to be clear, I've done that too, but I'm against it.
They're also saying in the chat that Boto exposed Pedro at a certain point, but actually it was a leaked conversation that appeared in the media. There was that situation with you and Pablo Fernandez, the fitness coach from the punch incident. Man, how was it for you to handle that whole situation, Braz? At that moment, there were complaints from all sides. Then Braz went to the police station in the car with the physical trainer. Braz was next to the physical trainer. Someone has to go with the guy, someone has to go with the other one. How does your mind handle it? Don't you age about 10 years in just 1 year at Flamengo? How is it to handle that hotbed of egos, Braz? That period also had around the same time Gerson punching Varela. It was crazy.
No, let's go. I'm going to wrap up this topic about the punch from the fitness coach. What happens? When Pedro realizes he should go to the police station, and I called the police officer, the chief there, the colonel. I don't remember his name. I explain what happened and say that we unfortunately had a player who wanted to report an assault. That was done. And under the guidance of the military police, we would need to go to a police station. He couldn't be heard as if it were at the G Cream, at the stadium police. I don't remember why, Papa. We would need to go there. And when that happens, at first, an assistant who isn't from here, he's from out of town. At first, he didn't want to go for, I don't remember. And calmly we said, look, this isn't about wanting or not wanting. Was done. A report. And the police are here. We need to go there. And it took some persuading so that the assistant would go to the police station. The way we found for him to go was to make the situation calmer and keep calming him down. It was me accompanying him, me as the vice president of soccer, accompanying him to the police station. There wasn't enough room for everyone in the car. We couldn't put Pedro and the guy in the same car. So I got there and I went in the car with him, calming him down. It had nothing to do with saying he was right or that I was on his side. I just, as the vice president of soccer, I had to go and I accompanied the employee so he could give his statement. And Bruno Espino accompanied, if I'm not mistaken, Pedro. That's what happened. There was nothing else, nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't take sides in any way at that moment. I was just helping to carry out a police order, which was to escort both individuals in this incident to the police station.